Yo, what it do, people? What's poppin'? So, um, I have 30 minutes on this stream. I was supposed to have stayed here much longer, but surprise, surprise, I spent a bunch of time trying to set up the stream because I haven't done this in a really long time. Most of my settings were tweaked for recording. So now I have to be inside of OBS fidgeting, trying to figure out what the best way is to make the stream work. So hopefully by the time you're watching this video, I'm all set up and ready to go. And I'm about to share this link. All right, cool. So let me find this group. Website design. It's actually kind of sad that I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. It's not going to be a lot of time at all. Also, I really don't like listening to myself when I'm wearing these things. Plus, my lighting is hella off. Doing a quick design search before I head out for work. Come hang. Not that anybody cares actually. I think for last measure, I'm gonna tweet this out. You can just skip all this parts by the way. Okay, that's about all the sharing I'm going to do. So if you're on the stream, welcome. Let's get this show started. Also, my lighting is off. I hope you guys don't mind. And I'm going to need one more favor. If you can hear me, yo, Cletus, I'm good, bro. I'm doing fabulous. If you can hear me, just throw a thumbs up in there. Let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. And if my volume is balanced with the music and everything else, let me know. One more thing, people. One more thing. All right, sweet. Let's get it. Okay, so I haven't streamed in a while. I don't even know if I'm technically allowed to be sharing this project, but I don't think, the guys are going to mind. So what am I working on? I'm working on the tribute website. So a good friend of mine unfortunately lost his pops, and we want to set up a website for the funeral. Basically, that's what I'm doing. And we have, so I went through like a bunch of iterations. So the first thing I did was to figure out like the flow. Initially, I wanted to build an app of some sorts because, I thought it was a cool project. I thought a bunch of people could want to use it later. So I wanted to build an app, but we don't have enough time. We basically have we have 3 weeks. As of this time, we have 2 weeks. But first, I started by just going through like the entire flow of what I want the app to be like. Which I tend to do most of the time for all my projects. And then now I am going through the actual design. So I started with just finding a bunch of ideas, wireframes. I'm actually about to steal this, so you see me do it live. But I went through a bunch of different ideas, which I do all the time when I'm creating, websites. And I typically have I typically have a direction that I want to go and a story that I want to tell. So I'm not necessarily looking to these things to show me what to do. I'm more looking for ingredients that fit what I'm trying to do, right? So that's the approach. So work through the wireframe over here, and then got into like, you know, the actual design very quickly. Did a bunch of explorations, stealing some ideas from here. Yeah, and then this is where we're at now. So these are the 2 pages that are working. I like them. I think they're cool. And I'm going to build on top of that. I have 30 minutes, and the page I'm trying to build is going to be the history page. Let me know if you can hear me all right. Feel free to ask questions as I go. I'm going to try to keep track of things, but hey. Let me know if everything is cool when you can hear me. All right, sweet. So I typically will always have like a vision, right, for the feeling that I'm trying to create. This is a tribute website, so I wanted it to be very calm, and obviously I wanted it to be dark mode because, you know, we tend to represent funerals with that solemn vibe. So I wasn't interested in creating anything that was too bright, but at the same time I needed opportunities for clear call to actions, right, to be able to happen throughout the entire site. So I'm using very dark backgrounds, and then like these colors are not white, they're like this off grays. So this is the color code. Where's my hex? FFF8EA. So it's like, I call them paper, right? So it gives it this kind of like paper feeling, and it makes the entire UI like a little calm, a little, you know, cool, right? So let's get into this history page. These menu items are going to be there, so I'm essentially not going to change them in any way. But what I want on a history page is similar to this idea that is here, right? More like a combination of these 2 ideas. So I want a vertical timeline of like so that somebody can basically go through the page and then see like the different information. Now I have content from, you know, the client and the family about what exactly should go on each of the pages, but what I'm going to do in this session is just to like lay out kind of like how I want things to look and start tweaking it a bit, right? So essentially I want a line that goes through the page which shows me where I am in the history, and then I want some text here, and then maybe some images, and then some summary of the text, right? So we're just gonna lay that out and then see how it looks. So yeah, let's get started. If you have any questions up until this point, you can shoot them to me, and then I will try to answer them. So let's say we're going to have some dates. So 1924 to 2024, right? So that's the date. I want some summary of what that date is saying. So 64, I don't know, let's get this at 32. This is gonna say early years. And right now I'm really not trying to get the right content in there. I'm just trying to get a visual representation of what I want. So I'm quite honestly just copying content from other parts of the site to kind of help me do what I need to do, right? So this is going to be a short summary. Of this. And then I think I actually want some images. I have a page full of images, so let me find that. I think the home page. I think I want some images here, on each of the sections. So I'm just gonna delete all that. And also I have like a chaotic way of designing. I don't have like this perfectly, you know, made design style. or approach, like a lot of people try to, you know, try to say. There's a plugin I found called Batch Image Editor that allows me to like tweak images in batches. It's pretty rad. Now, but I already tweaked this image. I want to undo it. Oh, okay. It's the saturations. Okay, so this only goes one way. Yeah, this is going to be work. If anybody knows a way to like undo all this at once, you should tell me. So I use a plugin to like undo everything, but now I don't have access to the same plugin. So like it doesn't work in reverse, it only works one way. By the way, I think this is really, really boring, like watching somebody work like this. So you guys should tell me, like if you have any questions, you can ask me, we can talk through the questions whilst I do this, because a lot of this is just like mindless work, quite honestly. So so feel free to like ask me any questions that you have while I work on this. Put them in the chat. Okay. Yeah, so the logic is for each section, I want to have like a big description of the section, a small description so you can read, you know, when it is, what's happening, and then I want to show some images. Yeah, Cletus, go ahead. Please ask the question about wireframing. I will answer it as soon as you ask. I think I want another image. Ideally something in portraits. Okay, I don't have a portrait image, so let's make do with what we got. All right, cool. This is portraits actually. So what I'm trying to figure out here is kind of like the composition that I want to make these things look good. And there's really no science to it, right? So you just kind of try to figure it out so that the person knows what you're talking about. Wait, what am I saying? See, this is the problem with multitasking. Forget that last sentence. Okay, this is fine. It doesn't exactly look the way I want it to look yet, but this is just meant to help me capture the idea, and then we can go ahead to like fine tune it later on. So Clytus, how would you personally define a flow diagram? What are your thought processes in generating UI screens for the flow diagram? So it's two different things actually. So it's two different things. Let me see if I can connect my iPad and I'll show you guys. So there is no science to define a flow diagram, right? First of all, there are tools that you can use and there are frameworks and a bunch of different things that you can use. But essentially, a flow diagram is what it says it is. It is a flow diagram. Hold on. It shows you the flow of information, how things start, how they end. And typically when I'm working on the flow diagrams, I'm looking for a few things. One, I'm trying to understand all the different stages in the process of somebody actually making a decision, right? So whether it's a website or it's an app, I'm trying to really figure out, okay, how do I take this person through this step-by-step guide where they can understand everything that I'm showing them and they know all the different steps that they need to take to get to a particular outcome or particular result, right? So that's the first thing. So first I need to figure out all the stages. Then I need to figure out what are the inputs, right? At each particular stage. So in each stage of the flow, what information are they seeing? And then what actions can they take, right? So first we have all the stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. The person goes from here to there to there. And then the next thing is we need to figure out, okay, when you're at stage 1, what information do you see? 2, what inputs do you need to take? Do I need to take from you at that particular stage, if any? And then 3, what actions do you need to take? Typically, those actions may just be like actions that direct you to the next stage in the flow. But sometimes those actions are actually like secondary actions that you can do a bunch of different things with, right? So for me, those are like the 3 main components of like a flow diagram. And then the rest is just figuring out all the different connections, right? So I'm trying to pull out this particular project. Because I want to show you where this process started off from me. Let me pop into my iPad real quick. Let's hope this works. All right, perfect, sweet. So this is my flow diagram for this particular thing that I'm doing, right? It started off on the iPad, and like I'm saying, basically I want all the different stages. So set up attribute. Okay, this was like the business, kind of like the business logic, right? But I was going through just some key things that I wanted to have on this particular project, right? So first I just define the key things. So log in, pick a template, customize. When somebody gets to the page, what do they see? Tribute websites. They read the memorial, then they can write their own tribute. And over there, they see the name, some text, some button. And then when they click, what do they see? It comes to a view. They see a bunch of tributes. Then, so you can see, like, this is my first take at solving this particular problem, right? I'm just using the iPad, going through things and kind of hashing out the different ideas, how I want things to be and what I want to communicate and how I want to lay things out. So I go through that for like, so you can see I'm clearly defining what the input is and I'm defining what the output is, right? And then all these arrows tell me where things are going next, what's happening. Yeah, so that's kind of like the first major path in figuring out like what the flow is supposed to look like, right? So I sketch all these different things. Now I'm not using FigJam or any of these fancy tools or anything like that. I'm basically just going through the process and putting my thoughts on paper, and I do this a lot, right? So just for reference, there was another project, I think this was a portfolio site for myself, and I use the same science to kind of plan it, think through it, right? There was one I did recently that was pretty wild. This is one I did recently for a project that I was thinking about. Yeah, and quite honestly, it's just me going through like all these different things, right? So from the iPad, sometimes I will then come to say, how do we call it? Let me switch. So from the iPad, I'll then come to, this particular place, right? Where I'm then capturing all the different informations and I'm trying to lay things out in a more concrete manner. So here, I've gone from just figuring out, say, broader flows to like thinking a little bit about layout and trying to lock in content a bit more concretely, right? Like this information will go there, that information will go here. And I'm still labeling things, connecting things, annotating things, right? And then from here, I now go to my design, right? And this is like another version of that. So now I'm putting things on a bigger screen, fleshing them out before I eventually get to like my final design, right? So typically that's what flow diagrams look like for a lot of things, right? Now, there are other times where I use FigJam. Let me see, what projects can I find? BCIS, no. Let me see if I can find Urban Plug. 9 months ago. So sometimes when I'm in a client meeting and I need to capture things in a way that I can understand quickly and I can share with other people, then I'll use FigJam, right? And I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm just drawing a mind map of like, you know, how things connect to each other, right? And then I'm using these colors on the fly to kind of codify things, right? Enquiries, this is the data that I need to take. If something is important, I'll add a star to it because it helps me. Yeah, and I just go through that process like multiple times. So these are sort of the way I define flows. And I've done them like so many different ways, right? But for me, it's really important for me to figure out like, okay, what are the core things? What are the stages? What are my inputs? What's my information? What's my outputs? What's my actions? And then I create that, you know, for all the different stages that I can think about in every single thing that I do. Then I move on from there. So that's how I go about defining flows. Give me a thumbs up when you can see that. The latency is crazy, by the way. Okay, cool. So that's flow diagrams. I will answer the next question after I've done a little bit of work, because I really want to make some progress on this before I leave the house. Oh, by the way, this stream is going to end in like 17 minutes, maybe like 20-25 minutes max, because I have a meeting that I'm going to be going out to. So yeah, just so you know, it's not going to be super long. Okay, so the next question is about, do you think anyone can learn and be good at design? I've been doing UI design for a while, but I don't think I'm getting any better. People never really F with my stuff like that. Yeah, that's a good question. And I promise I'll answer that after I make a little bit of progress on this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to spend the entire time talking. Okay. Okay, so I want a little bit of action to tell me where I am. So I think that can be this color. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so here I think I'm just I think I like this idea for the thumbnails. Sorry, what am I saying? I like this idea for the timeline. I like this idea for the timeline. So I think this is pretty simple. It works, shows me where I'm at, what's happening. And then we can kind of add some animations in development to show the flow of information. What I do want to do actually is to add a little bit of depth, right? So that's another thing I do when I'm designing websites. When I'm designing websites, there is an easy thing, what people will expect you to do. And that's basically you just representing the information, showing things. But I'm always looking for opportunities to create what you call delight, right? That little extra something that just makes, you know, the flow and whatever you're doing a little more interesting. So over here, what I think that could be, like, we could add, so I have pictures from all the different stages of the person's life, right? So I think what we could do is that we could actually add like a gallery. So explore gallery. So I'm going to add like a, maybe it's like going to be in a light box or an overlay, where I can see all the pictures that I have for this person at that particular life stage, right? Yeah, because I don't want to waste all that information, and I want to find ways to integrate it in the design so that it makes sense. Iconify. Chevron. Firm and strong. Are you still on the call? I don't want to lose you. I just want to make sure I make a little bit of progress on this, and then I promise I'll answer your question. All right, sweet. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this actually. Let's see how it looks in preview. I'm gonna bring back my menu bar. Okay, that is the problemo. Okay, it doesn't really matter, right? Because if you're scrolling, so what's happening here is a menu bar is kind of getting in the way of, you know, this particular thing. But I think if I'm scrolling past it, it doesn't matter. Which is also another important tip for you people when you're designing. Like, try to modify real life situations as much as possible. So for example, I know that on this page I have my menu bar at the bottom here. A lot of people will design and they will not take into account, you know, how that will affect other pages. So when they're designing this page, they will leave out the menu bar, only to come and have it in development and they've not accounted for it. So that's also a trick for you. Just, yeah. So now that is in place like I expect it to be. So I can test out this UI and see if it really works the way I think it's supposed to work. Yeah, I think it kind of works, no? I don't know. I think it kind of works. Okay, cool. I think we've got something. So as I'm working on this, I'm typically also trying to make sure that I understand, like I'm thinking about how development will work and animation and, you know, all these different things. so that when I finally get there, I can communicate. Sometimes I'll leave comments if I think I'll forget, but in this case, I don't think I'll forget. So we just roll with it like that. Yeah, I think I like that. And something that I would do is, I think this only shows when I'm actively in this section. So I don't want this like explore gallery option to be showing everywhere, because I think it can be a distraction. So I think we only make this show yeah, we only make this show when I'm actually when I'm actively in that section. Maybe this is yellow. I don't know, let's see. Yeah, I like that. Let's make that yellow. And I'm just going to like delete. Okay. Another trick for you is don't delete stuff, just duplicate, because you never know what you might need. You never really know what you might need. Yeah. So I'm just gonna get rid of this. Get rid of that. Yeah, perfect. So I have some depth, right? So when I'm actively in a section, then it shows me, okay, I'm actively in this section. It gives me a view gallery so I can explore that. And then that doesn't show until I'm in a different section. We want to, like, I want to make this a lot more dynamic. So for example, if you're on the tributes page, you're going to be adding you're going to write a tribute, but then we also want to have like a memory or gallery section where we're just showing like different pictures that other family members might have that we don't have, right? So I'm going to change this add memory call to action to say, I'm going to change the write tributes call to action to like an add memory, and I want to flip this to a camera. So the plugin that I use is called Unsplash. Yeah, okay, Unsplash for images, but Iconify, sorry. I use Iconify for, and I'm not staying within the icon set here. I don't remember which icon set I use, but right now it doesn't matter. I just want something that that helps me, you know, communicate sort of like the idea. All right, sweet. So I have that. Gonna delete that. I think I like the icons when they're leading. Okay, no, let me just, yeah, I think I like the icon when they're leading. Let me see. Okay, I see what's happening. Yeah, okay, I'll fix that later. Okay, cool. Yeah, Charlie, it's always a jam. Can you hear the coffee sounds in the background? The coffee shop sounds, I use those a lot too. All right, man, I think we have it. I may come back and tweak this, you know, but I think right now this is looking cool. The problems I have here is I think the top is looking too bare, so I don't know if I want like something small just to kind of, you know, give it a little bit of life. So there's this concept called interestingness, right? Which is like, yeah, your design is supposed to be functional, but you also want to make it interesting. So when I'm on a page like this, I'm usually asking, okay, what can I do to make things a little more interesting? Like on this page, the title works because we have this big block here, right? That's kind of, you know, balancing it out. But on here, because I'm starting from, you know, just this text and there's no containers, it feels a little weird. So those are things that I may be looking out for when I get into like the fine-tuning stage of the design, where I'm really trying to figure out, you know, how do I take this to the next level, right? So what I have here is cool, but maybe like give me another hour and then I may now start thinking about, okay, how do I take this to the next level? How do I add more depth? How do I add more dynamics so that it's like a lot more fun and it's a lot more interesting, and it stands out from what's in the marketplace, right? All right, cool. So let's answer this last question and then I'm out of here. I need to go for my meeting. Okay, so the question is, Oh, hold on, guys. I think my settings were not working, were they? Right. Yeah, my camera settings were not working. Damn. All right, cool. Sorry. Let's tackle that question. I'm just gonna leave this on screen so you can see it. What's the question? Okay, quick question first. Robin C is asking, how many hours have I worked on this project? I don't know, maybe 5 hours. Like, okay, so that's the thing. Like me sitting down at my desk working on this project, yeah, maybe 4 hours, including this 1 hour, 30 minutes. But I've been working on it in my head. I've been thinking about this for weeks, maybe even close to a month, honestly. But in terms of me sitting down working on it actively, maybe like 5 hours in total, maximum. Yeah, I don't spend a lot of time. Sometimes I don't spend a lot of time behind the screen because I spend more time thinking. And then yeah, I can get to the stuff. Okay, so let's go to the question. The question is, do you think anyone can learn to be good at design? I've been doing UI design for a while, but I don't think I'm getting any better, and people really never effort my design like that. Okay, cool. The answer is yes, right? So yes, I think anybody can learn and be good at design, but I think it will take some people a lot more time to get to a certain level of quality than it will take others, right? I think certain people have a knack for visual communication and they're really talented. So there's a lady I work with, she is insane, right? Like her ability to create interesting stuff is just off the charts. And she has a talent for picking out, good design and creating interesting stuff. Now, someone like that has a good head start, right? Because they have an intuition for it. So even if they're not trained in the theory and the details and everything, they will still be able to do something that is decent and something that's good and something that works. But if you're somebody who really don't have that kind of intuition, you're going to have to work a lot harder to be able to get to those same results. And there are a few things that I think you have to get right. First, you need to understand the basics, right? So what you don't see here is that as simple as this design looks, right? I'm using certain principles. So number one, I'm using the principle of composition, which basically states that for every single composition, you want to have a big thing, a medium-sized thing, and a small thing, right? So if you look at this image, there's a big thing, there's a medium-sized, and there's a small thing. If you look at the text, there's a big thing, medium-sized, small thing, right? That's a rule that I know that I am using. My text right over here is 17 pixels, 150%, line height. That's just something that I use. This color here is not white, right? If I make this very white, you see how it changes the feeling of how this thing actually feels, right? It doesn't feel as nice and it doesn't blending as much as the other sections, right? So these are all decisions I'm making because I understand the theory of design. I understand what makes a good composition. I understand, what create dynamics. I understand how to create interest in a UI. I understand typography and how to pair fonts. That's the theory, right? So if anybody's actually going to get good at design, first they need to just go and study the basics of color, composition, typography, layout, imagery. You need to go and study the fundamentals, right? And then the second thing is that you have to build your taste, right? Which is a key part of actually becoming a good designer. You need to have taste, right? And you build taste by the things that you look at, right? Your taste, you're not born with taste, right? I don't think, maybe some people are, but most of us, we are not born with taste. So we have to actually work hard to discover how to actually get our taste. And this is mainly by exposing yourself to different things. So when it comes to web design, for example, which is something I'm really passionate about right now, I'm looking at everything. I'm chasing down every cool websites, whether it's in health, agriculture, it doesn't matter where it is, right? And all I'm doing here is to actually expose myself to different styles, different implementations, different theories, so that I could properly understand how, you know, some people execute and how I can build my taste when it comes to web design. Now, the reason why it's important for you to have the fundamentals and the basics unlocked before you start doing this is that if you have the fundamentals, then you can understand why certain things look the way they look, right? Because without a key understanding of the rudiment, like the fundamentals and the rudiments, like Robinson is saying, you really don't know why something works, right? You just know that it works and you might copy it, but it will not work when you copy it because there are a bunch of other reasons why that thing works, right? It's not just the thing, it's the context that is in that makes it work. So knowing the basics is first. The second thing is like you need to learn how to improve your taste by exposing yourself to different things. And then when you are copying those things, you can actually copy them intelligently, right? So you don't lift something that works from a particular context and put it in a particular context where it doesn't work. I'm sure you've heard about the fish in water analogy, right? There's a reason why a fish is able to thrive in water. And if you take it out of the water, it's going to die, right? Because its environment is incorrect. It's the same thing for design elements. I think there's a reason why certain design elements work in the context that they are in. And when you just simply lift it from that context and put it somewhere, it really is not going to work, right? But you can only know that if you understand the basics. And I think that's the biggest issue, which is like understand the basics, right? So understand the basics, improve your taste. And then the next thing is just practice. I don't think designers practice enough, right? And I don't mean like just replicates what somebody has done, right? I mean intentionally. Even if you're replicating, be intentional about it. Why are you replicating that? What are you trying to learn? What principles are you testing out, right? Build things, try to create concepts, right? And I think that's one thing I feel like a lot of designers like don't do. Lots of young designers, we don't practice intentionally. So first, learn the basics. Second, improve your tastes, and then practice. And you have to be patient with yourself because it's going to take a really long time. Like when I started design, I was terrible at color. I didn't know how to use color, right? But then Ed, who's a very good friend of mine, is killing it at color, and I've been trying to learn color ever since. And I've made some progress, right? But now I am at a point where I'm like, okay, I think I need to go and learn color theory, right? Because what I know how to do with color is okay, but I want to get to the next level. So now I'm actually going to, learn color theory and like try to really understand color theory to like get it right? And I have to be patient with myself to get there, right? So those, for me, like those are, I think, the steps that I think is going to take. So first, you need to understand the basics, build your taste, and building taste never stops, right? It keeps happening, it keeps going on. And then you have to intentionally practice, and then you have to be patient, right? Be so patient, give yourself, because I mean, I've been doing this for 12-13 years at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Like 2014 when I decided to 2014 when I decided to like take design up seriously, right? And started learning. That's a really long time to be doing this. So you may see me do some things very quickly now, not because like I was born with the talent, but because like I've actually spent over 10 years just practicing and learning and improving myself, right? So you also need patience to be able to like continually improve, right? If you do those things right and you give yourself some time, I think you can improve, right? I think you can improve. And another very important thing is like you need to know that every designer has a style. So I'm a clean, simple designer, right? I'm a very clean, simple designer, and that's kind of like my style, and I've learned to like improve that, leverage it in different situations. Yo, Derek, what's up? But yeah, like there are some cases where I need to step out from that. So you need to really discover who you are, what your strengths are, and you can only do that through consistent practice, right? If you're not consistently practicing, like you can't figure any other stuff out. So yeah, those would be like my tips on like how to actually figure out how to improve your design, right? It takes time, it takes practice, but you need to go and learn the basics. Like simply just copying stuff is not going to work, because you can't create anything unique. So you need to learn the basics of why certain things work and why others don't. So yeah, that would be my 2 cents on actually like improving your design skills. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm done here, honestly. I got stuff I need to do, so I am going to head out now and try to get that stuff done. I wish I could stay and finish this project, because I think I have the homepage, I have the tributes page, now I have the history. I think I need to memories, donations, live stream. Okay, so the history is life. So let me change this. Let me just change this to like life. On life history, because then it'll be longer. Yeah, so then I have this so I have this key pages. So I think I need to create the memories page, which is basically just going to be like a how do we call it? It's basically just going to be like a gallery of sorts, like a gallery that you can filter. And then the donations page is just going to be information. Then you have live stream, is some information and an embed, so there's no big deal there. Then the other things I need to work on is what happens when somebody clicks the write a tribute button and when they click add a memory. Again, I think we're just going to use a modal or reroute them to like a card page where they can, you know, upload information. Yeah, so I think I should be able to finish this tomorrow. All the desktop views, and then we'll go to tablet and mobile and then prep this for dev. This site should go live in 2 weeks, so if you're on the stream and it goes live, I will come back here and then put a link as a comment for this video to the live site so you can check it out. But I think, yeah, there's like this images are kind of bugging me though. I don't like the way it's rendering, so I may need to come back and fix this. And I think I may need to reduce the sizes and the quantity. So yeah, but I like it. I think we're making good progress. I like the language. I vibe with it. I think it's dope. So now it's just the tweaking and the fine tuning, and then we are game. So yeah, that's it for me for this stream. If you have any questions, you can ask. I have like maybe another 4 minutes, so feel free to ask any questions. Yeah, the images will move, so the images will be animated when you get on the screen. So on load, I'm actually stealing that from somewhere. I saw the idea somewhere. Yeah, so the images to be animated when you load. Maybe we'll add some parallax, maybe they'll move up and down. I haven't figured out the motion yet, but yes, they will be moving. That's the plan. Pleasure, my dude. My pleasure. Okay, I'm gonna wait for 1 more minute. If there are no questions for me, I'm out of here. Ooh. Robinson, I am not sure yet, but I know FitCon is happening, and I know some dope people who are going to be on there. I think it's in August, so I'm putting the link in the chat. Check it out. I don't have any events planned yet. Maybe I'll do something. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm busy with a lot of work right now. But I know FitCon is happening, and maybe Dex might come up later. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm allowed. I don't have the full details, but from me, not yet. If I'm doing something, I'll announce it. You will know. But check out FitCon. Some of the OGs are going to be there, so definitely check them out. Yeah, Charlie. We are. Alright, people. This was nice. Hopefully I can do this more often. Sometimes it's really hard because talking and designing, yeah, it's very slow. And setting up the stream, it's all kinds of work. So I hope you had fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.